Ladies and gentlemen, in this RedGameTed.com video, we're going to be taking a look at the Steam Summer Sale deals of the 16th of July. And my goodness, we have a veritable feast of games. There's some really good games today, so without further ado, let's just jump in. Without any particular order, we're going to start with Alan Wake. It is available 90% off in both regions. It is available for £2.29 or $2.99. This is for the Standards Edition. You can pick up the Collector's Edition, or if you want to, you can pick up the Alan Wake franchise, which comes with American Nightmare. That is available for £3.10 basically, or $3.99. So what are my thoughts on Alan Wake? First of all, if you haven't got both games already, I would recommend picking up the franchise. Despite the fact that, in my opinion, American Nightmare is the weaker of the two, mostly because of reused set pieces over and over again, it is still a reasonable game. On the other hand, the original Alan Wake is, in my opinion, a very good piece of storytelling. It has some cliches here and there, and it's obvious that it pays homages, shall we say, to various authors such as Stephen King and even some TV shows such as, say, Twin Peaks. But in my opinion, this is an absolutely fantastic game. It also looks absolutely beautiful. Even now, as a slight aside, it was also used to demo the quad-core processors way back when, for example, in 2007, which would be the Q6600, I'm sorry, but of course was delayed on PC as fate would have it. Nevertheless, in my opinion, this is one of those titles that I'd highly recommend you purchase post-haste, my good sir. So I'll wait for you to do that. Nah, just kidding. Anyway, moving on. System Shock 2. It is available for 75% off, which brings it to either $2.50. I'm just going to round this up because I don't think anyone's going to quibble over 1 cent, are they? Or £1.74. It is an absolute fantastic experience. In my opinion, this game, System Shock 2, is really what BioShock should have been. BioShock 1 and 2, in my opinion, were very good games, but they were very, very different to System Shock. And although some of the aspects of the games did maintain themselves, the original BioShock was fairly spooky, but I would argue it has nothing on System Shock. Now, System Shock 2 can be fairly unforgiving, as it turns out. Predominantly in the way that you build your character and weapons mods, it is not for those players who give up easily. It has a fairly steep learning curve, and honestly speaking, it can be off-putting. But I would counterbalance that with it is one of the best bloody gaming experiences you can possibly get ever. It is really good. I know that might sound a bit cliche to say, you know, just saying it's a very good gaming experience, but it honestly is. It's the atmosphere behind it. It's the little touches in the game, reading all the data pads, the sound effects, the music, the ambience. And okay, the graphics are dated, however they have been, at least from what I can tell, a little bit I played, they definitely seem to have improved the textures, updated. But overall, of course, the graphics are still old, considering the game itself is, well, old. But in my opinion, it is still ranks as one of the absolute supreme experiences for gaming. And I really cannot emphasize how much I would recommend picking up this title. Next game, we have Crisis Maximum Edition. Next, with Crisis Maximum Edition, it is available in US dollars for $9 for Crisis 2. You can buy the Crisis Collection for $21. You can buy the original Crisis for $6. Or finally, you could buy Crisis Warhead for, once again, $6. If you want the pound prices, that's $7.49 for Crisis 2. The collection, $12. Crisis 1 would be free, and Crisis Warhead ever so slightly cheaper at $2.39. So us Brits get a fairly good price on this, actually. So what are my thoughts? Well, I would say all of the Crisis games are worth buying, and I would actually say that the collection, especially for UK folk, is definitely worth it. Crisis 2 is really holding its price, although its normal price is $24.90 and $9, compared to, of course, the original Crisis, which is only like £10. Or for you guys in the States, the original Crisis is actually $19.99. Regardless, what are my thoughts? Well, all the Crises are worth buying. Fortunately, most modern systems, assuming you've got a graphics card that's, reasonably new, can handle these games without too much of a problem at all. I would say the Crysis 2, especially with the HD texture mods, look great. Now, some people will write these games off as a purely, it just looks pretty. In my opinion, that's not really the case. I think the storyline's a little bit cliched. It has a couple of B-movie plots here and there, but I would offset this with the fact that it has some really nice set pieces, it has some really nice action, and it can actually be used as quite a big sandbox, especially the original Crysis. You can actually do some rather ridiculous stuff, including, but not limited to, my ad, setting up ridiculous amounts of high explosive barrels next to, say, or I don't know, flammable things such as trucks and so forth, and then just watching the explosion. It has a certain elegance to it. On the other hand, Crysis 2 swaps this for a more urban environment, but I would also say that the combat is a bit cleaner, especially in the way the suit is controlled. Crysis 1 and even Warhead in that respect, little bit cumbersome. I wouldn't say awful, I would just say a little bit cumbersome. Nevertheless, this is one of those titles that I think you should probably play. UK folks definitely get a better option in terms of pricing, but even if you're in the States, it's not bad, I suppose. So anyway, I would say this one's worth checking out. Next we have the main star of today, Football Manager 2013. It's available for UK price of £7.49. That would be 75% off, and the same for US, 75% off, but it is $10. I can honestly say this is one of those games that I've just never gone into, mostly because I really don't like British football that much, and I'm probably going to get a few comments on that one, but it's just honestly true, never really gotten into it. More into like UFC and bodybuilding personally. But I do think that this is one of those games that you don't necessarily have to be into football to like it. This is also one of those games that is ridiculously addictive, and I don't just say that because I've heard stories over the internet. I actually know a couple of people who play this game in real life, and at certain points in their life the game has become a job. I know someone a couple of years back where he quite literally at times was playing the game like 18 hours a day, and we're talking, it makes World of Warcraft look bad in addiction levels. He quite literally had, I think, 2 or 3 teams going at once, and so forth, and it is one of those games that is definitely refined over time. It is a very pure experience, and if you are interested in this, if you have any desire for strategy and so forth, if you have an affinity to you wanting to manage your own club, I would say that this game is really for you. I honestly cannot say that I have much personal experience with it. I have seen it, played, and so on. However, from what I am told from the people who both love football and have love affairs for these type of games in general, and who have played it, they are absolutely addicted to it. And quite honestly speaking, if you value your free time and you're thinking of picking this one up, I'd probably recommend not to, because honestly speaking, you will find a ridiculous amount of your life absolutely sucked away into oblivion. Anyway, next one, Mark of the Ninja. This is an action-adventure type of indie game, and honestly speaking, it was one of my favourite indie titles when I checked it out. It is available for 75% off, or $2.99, that would be pounds, or $3.74, that would be dollars. That's once again 75% off. This game is ridiculously intuitive. It was released last year and looks absolutely gorgeous, and when I say it's intuitive, I mean the way it controls. This is one of those games where when you play it, it honestly feels that you're not really controlling the game, but you're just thinking about what you want to do. And I know that may sound really odd, but it is honestly one of those games where when you play it, the controls just feel so on point, so precise, that when you die, if you screw up, you honestly just think, okay, fine, that was my fault. You never feel yourself, oh crap, the game just didn't register my input. It honestly feels pinpoint, and intuitive, to the point where you don't... sometimes when you're doing something for the first time in the game, you almost expect that you're going to fail the first time. So in other words, you overthink it, because you think to yourself, is this going to be really that simple? And then you do it and it just works instantly. It also has a ridiculously lovely art style. I love it. The way the animation moves, the way the characters move, the way the missions are put together, the various different paths throughout the levels. I have covered this in a video in RGT, and honestly speaking, it is one of those titles that I'd encourage everyone to at least play through at least the first little bit, just because even if you're not particularly into stealth and platform action games, it really just does have something for everyone. And honestly speaking, I honestly think this is an absolutely fantastic experience. Next title, Sleeping Dogs. You can pick this up in the United States for $6.24, obviously US dollars, or if you're in the UK, you can pick it up for $4.99. There's also a large collection of DLC for this one. I personally, if I am honest, would not recommend some of it. The Zodiac Torment is quite nice, as well as Nightmare in North Point. A lot of them, on the other hand, you know, they're okay, but, well, whatever. It's up to you, however, on that one, of course. You can pick up the DLC collection, which is $8.74 if you're paying in pounds, or $13.74 if you're paying in US dollars. Personally, as I said, I don't really think all of that collection is worth it. Onto the game. So some people have actually dismissed this. They've said, all it is GTA in Asia, or GTA with, you know, John Woo kind of styling, and that's completely and utterly unfair. The game has a very high production value, and it looks absolutely gorgeous, especially if you have a PC that's good enough to run it at max settings at 1080p. More to the point, this game has a very nice story, and it actually is a bit different from GTA in that you don't get weapons until a lot later. Now, the combat in this game is actually quite brutal. You can actually use various areas, for example fans and so on, and push your opponent into them and watch them get chopped up nicely up. But it does have a couple of issues. Counter-attack system can be a little bit overpowered, and in some cases it could just be okay, I'm just gonna, you know, chill here and wait for my opponent to attack, and then I'm just gonna counter him, and then, you know, smack, and so forth, especially in some of the tournaments. And a couple of times I actually found myself, when I was playing the game, getting to the point where I was just like, you know what, bollocks to this, I'm trying to take on 3 dudes at once and it's just becoming frustrating, I'm just going to counter them. And when you do that, it becomes a hell of a lot easier. Nevertheless, for some reason, the fact that they hold guns back makes it that much more epic when you get them. Also, there's something very beautiful about driving around their cities at night. It honestly just looks absolutely gorgeous. And this is one of those games where if you're waiting right now for GTA, if you aren't even waiting for GTA, but you just want an action game that you can just sink your teeth into, get this. It will last you a long ass time. It has a lot of content in there. It is one of those games where you get into it what you put in. Also, it's quite nice that you're playing as a cop, and as a cop you could do legal activities, or you can do legal activities. It's completely up to you, and it has quite a nice styling to it. I'm not saying it's perfect. The combat at times could feel a bit overpowered with the counter-attack system, but on the other hand, I really do like this title, and it was one of my favourite games of last year, and I'd still recommend you check it out. So yeah, I would give Sleeping Dogs quite the thumbs up. Next title available for 50% off, or $14.99 if you're paying in United States dollars. On the other hand, if you're paying in pounds, that would be $12.49. And we are, of course, taking a look at The Secret World. I have to confess, I haven't played this title. I've heard quite a lot about it, and a couple of friends do own it, but basically it's an MMO type of affair, and as the tagline says, you pay once, you play forever. Subscription is no longer required. So basically the idea here is that you could play as multiple different secret societies: the Dragon, the Templars, and the Illuminati, and basically you are supposed to be fighting a secret war to control the world itself through various quests, for example, trying to influence the CEOs of major companies and goodness knows what else. Visually speaking, it does look quite awesome, as I'm sure you'll agree. I can honestly say, however, that I've not tried this one out, so I'd recommend you check out some videos or something of this title. Nevertheless, it's a fairly decent price. It has okay Metacritic scores and okay scores around the world, but of course that doesn't really tell you that much. As I said, I would normally help more, but honestly I've not checked it out, and Spoolie Kipper, who actually owns this, is not online right now, so I will slap him for not being online and asking his opinion. Nevertheless, next title, Orcs Must Die 2. There are multiple packs for this, so get your butts ready. I'm going to give the US dollar prices first, and then I'll give the UK pound prices. The US dollar price is 75% off, or $3.74 for the base pack, just one copy. 75% off, and you get 2 copies of the complete pack. You get 2 copies once again, 75% off, or $9.99. You can pick up just 1 copy of the complete pack for $6.24, or you can pick up the franchise pack for $8.74, and there are tons of DLCs available for 75% off. On the other hand, if you're paying with pounds, things are a little bit different. You are, of course, going to be paying for a single copy for $2.99. You're going to be paying for the complete pack, the 2-pack, once again, for $7.49. 1 copy of the game with a complete pack will cost you 75% off once again, $4.74. So once again, a huge saving if you buy 2, so find a friend if possible. Finally, the franchise pack, which will, once again, it gives you Orcs Must Die 1, 2, tons of DLC as well. That will cost you, for just the franchise pack, 75% off, or £6.24. So what are my thoughts? To be honest with you, I don't really think Orcs Must Die 1 is worth buying. It's worth noting that there is a demo of this, and I'd recommend you check it out. As it turns out, I actually was surprised how much I enjoyed it. However, this game is going to be one of those games that would be infinitely more fun with a friend. As it turns out, I didn't actually bother to complete this or go that far into it after my initial review. Not because the game sucked. I actually quite liked it, it's just no one I know played it. I have quite a small friends list on Steam, actually, for a couple of reasons that I'll keep private. But predominantly, I'd recommend, this is not a bad game at all. If you have a bubbling Steam community, then go ahead and pick it up. If you have a friend willing to play it with you, definitely pick it up. If, on the other hand, you are not going to do this, if you're just going to be playing it alone, it could be a good game. On the other hand, I am one of those players, and this is just me personally, from my own personal perspective, that honestly, I get bored after a while of just pew-pewing stuff. And I am the kind of person where I need some type of progression. The only exception to the rule here would be fighting games. Regardless, other than that, I just get bored after a while. Regardless of this, it is a good game and it is fun. There is a demo. Pick up the demo first. That would be my suggestion. You have, 40 odd hours remaining. Well, it depends when you watch this video. I suppose you could only have 2 minutes remaining. But regardless, worth picking up, I suppose. It is a punt, but meh. It's only £3 or $3.74 in dollars. So, not bad. DmC, also known of course as Devil May Cry. You could also pick up DmC 4 on this one, as well as DmC 3. Each of these games, well, 4 and 3 have 75% off, which makes them $5 respectively. DmC Devil May Cry has 50% off, or $25. If, on the other hand, you are not in the United States and you're in the UK, has 50% off, or £14.99. And as for Devil May Cry 4 and 3, then you're looking at 75% off. It's also worth noting that the DLC for this is also cheap. As for DLC, if we are looking at it, I would recommend picking up Virgil's Downfall. It is a pretty good expansion onto the game itself, and will give you several hours more gameplay, so definitely worth picking up. So, what about the game itself? First of all, if you don't own an Xbox controller and or equivalent, you're going to have some problems with this game, especially in fast-paced combat. It isn't to say you can't do it. In the RGT video, I did at points use a mouse and keyboard just to see my thoughts in the game. It works, but it's not ideal, to say the least. Primarily because of the combos. Storyline, it's more of an extension and a reboot of the original Devil May Cry. Now, I have a couple of issues with this game, although I have a lot of positives to say about it. As it turns out, I also have some negatives. The PC port could look better. Textures in some areas of the game are a little bit lower resolution than I want, and models could honestly be a little bit higher detail. You can blame our friends, the consoles, for that, however. Regardless, what about the combat? It feels quite nice, honestly. You feel very powerful early on, and more to the point, it feels very smooth to play early on, which is good. Storyline, if you're a fan of the original Devil May Cry, you're either going to love this or you're going to hate it. I know that's a bit of a black and white statement, but the new Dante is a bit like chalk and cheese. You're either going to want to punch him in the face repeatedly and consistently, or you're going to like him. In other words, he is the modern version of cool, and his arrogance at times and his very, I wouldn't say emo nature, but his very annoying nature, his nonchalance, I don't give a shit attitude, has always been there for Dante. But now it's presented in a very different and a very frustrating manner. And at times it can get to the point where you actually don't care if he dies, at least myself. On the other hand, the characters around him are less annoying. I have to say though, I do really like the combat in this, and some of the level design looks absolutely brilliant. The combat is great. You may grit your teeth on some of the dialogue, mostly because of Dante and the way they've portrayed him on this. That's my personal opinion. Whether the combat is really good, just for the love of God, if you don't own a controller, I would recommend picking up, because while the shooting on this is good, if you're using Dante's guns consistently to try and do any real damage in most fights, you're doing it wrong. This is honestly going to be a combo-orientated session. Also, as an aside, I'll warn you, if you've not played this game in a while, which I hadn't, and then I was trying to review Virgil's Downfall, my god, you're going to be awful. Because, as it turns out, the difficulty of the fight starts ramping up because you get so many abilities, and if you've not played in a while, you're really going to regret not remembering the buttons. Let's just put it that way. So for a couple of minutes, you're going to be like, up, derp, derp, and so forth. Anyway, moving on. Next title will be A Rising Storm. It's available for 50% off, or $9.99. You can pick it up the deluxe edition, for $15. You can pick up a 4-pack of standard edition. That'll cost you $29.97. Or you could buy the Red Orchestra franchise pack, which comes with, of course, tons of different content, including Rising Storm for $14.99. Or you could buy the deluxe edition upgrade for $5, or you could pick up the Tripwire Interactive Bundle. For those of you who are paying with Great British Pounds, that'll be $7.49 for Rising Storm. Deluxe edition $10, the 4-pack $22.47. The Red Orchestra franchise pack for $12.49, or finally you can pick up the interactive bundle for $18.74. A title that I've honestly not played before. It does, however, score extremely well on PC Gamer, Metacritic, as well as various other review sites. So, quite honestly speaking, you could most likely do significantly worse than pick this title up. For the price, however, it's probably better just to go with the 4-pack if you can, because obviously you can get friends to play it with you. As I said, can't be any more help, haven't played it myself. Next, we have the flash sales. Now I'm going to do these anyway, even though it's not, there's only like 7 hours or whatever remaining, but I might as well cover them, just because they may come back on again or whatever. So we have a reasonable collection, to say the absolute least. I will start out with Scribblenauts Unlimited. I can honestly say that I have never played this game at all. I have heard very good things about it, including from Amata. So, honestly can't say that I've played it, but for the price, which is £3.74 or dollars, that would be $5, you could probably go a lot worse. It is not scoring too bad Metacritic and so on, and the good thing is it does also support the Steam Workshop. I'm going to talk about games that I have played now. Amnesia: The Dark Descent, 80% off. That brings it to £2.59, or in dollars, $3.99. Machine for Pigs is being worked on, but meanwhile we have The Dark Descent. The Dark Descent has a ridiculous amount of classic maps. Now, I'm going to go into my personal bugbear with this. The death penalty is actually really minor. And by this, I mean that I just don't give a shit if I die. The game's very atmospheric and so on, but I noticed a lot of the terror, a lot of the fear that I had in the game just melts away when you realize the death penalty is really small. If you play that doesn't happen. If you play like, you know, you actually just don't want to die, you'll be fine. On the other hand, if you're the kind of person that, like myself, that mentally just there's no penalty to this, then it can be a problem. However, if you can immerse yourself into the game fully, it has a certain atmosphere. Now, obviously, if you die, there are problems with it. You know, you can't just keep dying your way through the game. It's just not as punishing as what it should be, and the creators have actually acknowledged this. So it is still a very good game. The custom stories alone, even the single player story, is actually pretty good, and in my opinion it is worth checking out. Speaking of worth checking out, Serious Sam 3. So Serious Sam 3 is available for $2.99. There's an absolute ridiculous amount of these collections, by the way, including the original Serious Sam, which is Serious Sam 3, should I say, which is a $2.99. That I'm just going to give the pound prices first. You can buy the gold version, which comes with tons and tons and tons of stuff. That comes for $3.99. You can pick up a 4-pack, $8.99. You can pick up the complete pack, which includes HD and various other bits and bobs. That will cost you $6.99. And finally, you could just pick up downloadable content, the Jewel of the Nile, 74 pence. Now, let's go with the dollar prices. So it is $3.99 for the basic game. An extra $1, so in other words $4.99 for the gold version. The standard 4-pack will be yours for only $11.99. The complete pack for $9.49, and finally Jewel of the Nile, once again 99 cents. So this game actually doesn't score that well on Metacritic and does not have a demo. However, in my opinion, this game, if you're a fan of shooting, if you're a fan of just, I'm gonna destroy shit and that's really all there is to it, get this game. That's simple as that. I'm just gonna make it simple. Just buy the game. If you are a fan of a ridiculously customizable graphics menu like you used to see in PC games, get this game. If you're a fan of just the old school style of shoot 'em ups, if you're a fan of health packs, if you're a fan of weapons that are just monstrous to use, pick this game up. It also supports local co-op. Yes, it does, my friends. Split screen local co-op, it does indeed support it. And believe me when I say that just makes me very happy. Now, there are somewhat tiny issues with this. Predominantly, the one of you is going to have to most likely deal with playing as a controller, but fuck that. The point being, it's still really fun. I would recommend checking this game out. It looks and plays beautifully. And this is one of those titles that it has absolutely no brain, no thought, no nothing behind it other than sheer, unadulterated, pure and utter carnage that just makes you giddy with glee to use. And I know I may be overselling it a little bit, but how I can do that. Anyway, next title, Assassin's Creed 3. You get the I'm just going to give dollar prices first. I'm trying to alternate it between pounds and dollars because I'm fair like that. You can pick up the standard edition for $24. You can pick up the deluxe edition for $41. You can pick up the Assassin's Creed pack, which comes with Assassin's Creed Director's Cut, Assassin's Creed 2 Deluxe Edition, Brotherhood, Revelations, as well as various map packs and so forth at Lost Archive, as well as Assassin's Creed 3. So basically as much assassiny, stabby technologies as you could possibly ever want in your life. That will be yours for $57.77, which is a fairly odd price. I'm sure you'll agree. You can also pick up various Primer strategy guides, but but I'm sure you guys who are watching this are awesome anyway, so why the hell would you give a crap? You can also pick up the Tyranny of King Washington, a couple of pieces of DLC that is definitely worth it. Actually, to be fair, all of the DLC is definitely worth it, so you might be better off to get the season pass. Although the Battle Hardened Secret Pack and all this crap, probably not worth it, but the Tyranny of King Washington and the Betrayal are definitely worth it, so yeah. Anyway, so what are my thoughts? Oh, by the way, the Deluxe Edition does come with all of that DLC, just so you're aware. So what are my thoughts on this game? Well, first, oh, actually, sorry, I'm completely ignoring the British people, aren't I? Oops. Standard edition, £12, $24 for the Deluxe Edition, $33 for the pack, $7.99 for the Primer Strategy Guide, not that anyone gives a crap, and so on. So what are my thoughts on this? This is one of those games, for the love of God, if you've not played Assassin's Creed 1, especially 2, don't pick up 3. Because you will not know the storyline. I'm not saying it's an imperative to know the storyline, but I haven't actually really played that much of Assassin's Creed. I'll just be completely blunt. And as it turns out, a couple of times I've played parts of Assassin's Creed 3 around other people's house, or later Revelations or something around someone's house, and I have absolutely no idea what the hell I'm doing in terms of the storyline, because it's making references to previous parts of the games. I would highly recommend, on honesty, that you buy the original game and make your way through it. So if you've not got the original game, definitely pick up the pack, and you're going to be much happier to do so. On the other hand, that's not to say that you can't enjoy Assassin's Creed 3 by itself. It's still a very good game and so on. I think the issue that I have with it is I don't know. I think it's the controls. They just feel a little bit off to me. And I've been told that I'm completely in the minority on that, so meh. But as I said, it is a very good game. Next and final game that we're going to look at is the Community's Choice Award. I was about as shocked as I was of the fact that, you know, someone fell from into a volcano and died. But anyway, we're looking at Skyrim Legendary Edition. Fairly measly 40% off, or $36 if you're paying, of course, with dollars. Or if you're paying with pounds, it's actually a lot better deal. It's only £18. So us British guys, or girls indeed, get a decent deal here. You could actually get only 30%, I'll just reiterate that, 30% off of Dragonborn. And that is for the UK and US, so that's $14 or $9.79 if you're talking pounds. Or Dawn Guard is $6.99, that's 50% off, or $9.99, that is 50% off as well. So, what are my thoughts? It's Skyrim. That's all there is really to say. On a very serious note, I would highly recommend picking up the Legendary Edition. I'm sorry guys, I thought I had my phone on mute. I would actually highly recommend you pick up the Legendary Edition. It just makes no sense not to. The original Skyrim is like $10.49. I'll just give you the pound prices just because. And then you're just looking at a few bucks more for the Legendary Edition. I'll be honest, however. In terms of deals, this is not the best that I've ever seen. I have actually seen Amazon do this for £15. I don't know what it was in dollars. I didn't look at the American store. I knew that the British store. Sorry, and it was 15. Now there is a Skyrim Day coming up soon, so you might, in theory at least, I'm not guaranteeing this, but most people assume there's going to be a Skyrim featured day. So my theory, it could be better to wait. If you've got the base game, it's very, very difficult to know whether you want to pick up Dawn Guard and Dragonborn. Personally, I don't really think it's a huge saving. If you've just got Skyrim, you might as well cough up the extra few pennies and get Legendary. in my personal opinion, just because regardless, a late patch has added the legendary difficulty setting into the base Skyrim. Anyway, that just about does it for this particular video. Hopefully you found it useful. I will see you soon. Take care and bye for now.